Hi guys, it is Niall and Tomas from niallpointspod, and we're back yet again. And today it's another Junior Eurovision special. So we've got 4 more Junior Eurovision songs that we're going to take a look at the official music videos for, and we will give our reactions. Before we get into that, just a reminder, you can keep up to date with us at niallpointspod on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at niallpoint.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Paitatomberehuja.
And don't forget, you can comment below, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. You can also find the podcast audio version anywhere. If you go to niallpointspod.com, it will link you to every single place where you can get the podcast, as well as all those links we mentioned before. So do keep in touch, and we'll get started. So I think, first of all, let's go to Ireland, shall we? So,
yep.
They held a national final.
Oh, did they?
They do. So Ireland, isn't RTE who do the Junior Eurovision, it's TG4. So they do a national final. For some reason, they have it on at 8:30 on a Sunday night, so I don't know how many kids are actually watching. But they had a national final, and the winner was Enya Cox Dempsey. And the song is, I'm going to get this wrong, I apologise, Le Chele? Chele? I'm really bad with these.
I would almost think it's French, but
I think it's
probably not.
I think it's Gaelic or Old Irish, but I don't know. Let's take a look at this and see what we think. Here's a clip. Okay, so that was Enya Cox Dempsey for Ireland with the Kayla. I think that's how we pronounce it based on listening to that. So a little bit about the Kayla. She comes from Castlecomar in County Kilkenny. She lives with her mum Roisin and family dog Pip, and she's a big fan of Lana Del Rey, Deftones, Metallica, and of course Queen. Although it does say she doesn't think she can pull off Freddie's moustache.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about that little bop?
I like it. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. She's really good voice, which is like one of the first things that came to mind. Like, oh, this is a really good voice. I kept expecting the song to go in another direction. Like, the verses sounded really different in style. Like, the build-up sort of made me expect sort of like a dancey track with like a beat, and then it turned very poppy instead. Which I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. I was sort of like constantly expecting it to like explode a little more. Do you feel me? Do you know what I mean?
You wanted it to drop. You wanted a drop in there.
Yeah, I mean, there is a kind of a drop, but it's a different kind. It's more pop, and I was sort of expecting it to have more of that beat. That's sort of like more like that. Like, I don't know. So, but at the same time, I also liked the song. So I'm not sure it's necessarily a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's bad at all. I really enjoyed this. It was one of those ones that you sometimes get at Junior Eurovision where you're like, I could imagine maybe a version of this song, not this exact song, but a version of this going to the normal Eurovision, adult Eurovision.
Yeah.
That's got that. It's got all the things that you need for a good Eurovision song, essentially. I really quite liked the lyrics. I really loved the fact that it was in a native language, in Irish. It was quite beautiful, actually. Like, just hearing this ancient language in such a pop song that just felt quite modern. So I do love that sort of fusion. Yeah, I could hear this in I could hear this in a Euro Club event and be like, oh yeah, let's have a dance to this. It is quite fun. The one thing I'm surprised at, and this is out with probably not going to make the cut, but I was a bit surprised that she had so many piercings. Like I thought you had to be like 18 or 16 to get that sort of thing.
Oh, how old is she?
Well, she must be under 15. It doesn't actually say her
I mean, they might be clip-ons or anything.
Could be, yeah.
They don't have to be real.
True.
I didn't actually notice it that much. She had like the nose piercing, right?
She had the nose piercing and the septum thing.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I noticed it is because we're talking about Junior Eurovision. Yeah. So we know that these are kids, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way. It was just one of those things where you're just immediately, when you're just randomly struck by something and then you can't stop thinking about that thing. I did have that. But yeah, so she says it's her dream to win Junior Eurovision for Ireland. But of course, why would you be doing Junior Eurovision if you didn't want to win? And she's got drums set up in her bedroom as well. So her mum must that. So very musical, it seems. And I think that came through in the personality. I love the choreo as well within the video. It just looked like they were all having fun, and I was like, this is so cute and wholesome. But I always do find it so funny having these teenagers or pre-teens in this sort of club environment for music videos. I find it so oxymoronic. Because obviously I know you get unders and stuff like that, but you don't get it didn't quite seem school disco, But no, I really liked that song. I think this is actually one that could go really well on stage doing it live. It's got really good potential for that, I think.
Yeah, because I think like the focus is very much on her vocal and her stage presentation. She's very charismatic, which is also one of the things that really struck me. That she's very she really plays that camera really well. Do you know what I was also thinking now is the fact that the reason why I was sort of expecting it to go in a different direction is that the verses sound very grown up. And it's sort of like, it was sort of like cool with that little sort of like guitar sound. And then it went into that pop direction, and that felt very Junior Eurovision to me. It was sort of, because it's interesting that you said like this, a different version of this song could potentially be a good one for the actual grown-up stuff, Eurovision Song Contest. And I feel like if it had more of that beat, more of that grown-up feeling, then it could have. And maybe that's why I was sort of expecting it to do that. Yeah. And then I was surprised each time when it went into this really pop. But I love a pop song, so I still thought that this was really good. And also, one of the things that I'm wondering is, do they still teach this old Irish language at schools, or is it just certain families that pass it on to their kids? Because you always see, when I think of Irish TV and clips that I see online from Irish TV, it's usually just in English, right?
Yeah, so I don't think, so I have spent summers in Ireland and stuff like that, but I don't claim to be fab of all knowledge. So if I'm wrong, I'm sure our friends at Airvision can help us out, help us we're wrong or whatever. But I don't think it's taught massively. I do think they teach bits of it, and I do think there are some schools that specifically do it. I think it's very similar to how we do Gaelic in Scotland. We have some skills. It's used in some signage. We have a TV channel that is fully in that, but not a lot of us actually speak it. So I think it is one of those that's minority language. But I do think there is still some teaching. Like there's a big Gaelic school in Glasgow, so I think it's somewhat similar.
Okay.
There you go. That's your lesson for today. And it might be wrong, but we can move on. Who've we got next, Tomas? Do you remember who it is?
Let's have a look. The next one is Leo from Armenia, who brings the song Cosmic Friend. So Armenia tends to do really well in Junior Eurovision, so I'm quite excited about this one.
Yeah, they have a good history. They obviously won a couple of years ago. So let's see, are they going to try and take the crown back from France? Let's see. Loved that. That was insane. That was brilliant. So that was Leo with Cosmic Fred, who is representing Armenia. Just a little bit about him from the Eurovision website. I think you can tell this. I don't think this will be a surprise when I actually say this. His tastes are influenced by his family, who are all singers. And he loves all kinds of iconic artists, from Michael Jackson to Justin Timberlake, Bruno Mars. I can see every single one of them in this performance. Thomas, what do you think?
Oh, just one of those songs that just make you smile from start to finish. I sort of forgotten, because I haven't really followed Junior Eurovision that closely the last couple of years, ever since Belgium dropped out. But I sort of forgot just how adorable it sometimes is. Like, some of these kids are obviously like 14, nearly 15, so they're almost grown-ups, like the Irish girl, but this is just a kid. He's just so small and so cute and so like little cheeks, and you just want to pick him. And he's the most adorable thing. And what a voice! Like, this is obviously a music video, but like, if he can sing that song live, just how impressive is that going to be? And people are just going to want to eat him up. I just love that whole vibe. That sort of. It's got a bit of a disco vibe. It's also got a bit of. It feels like you're watching a live band, and like an actual pop star that has a whole live band with them, and with like lots of dancers, and it's just fun from start to finish. I really, really love it, and I also like that it's pretty much 90% sung in Armenian, which I think is a beautiful language anyway. I love the outfit. I love the dance moves that this kid has. This kid can dance better than I can.
I don't think that's tough.
Insane. I'm not that bad.
Okay.
I'm really not that bad. But this kid just oozes charisma, is what I'm trying to say. It's just incredible.
There's a showmanship that I've not necessarily always seen with even Eurovision acts. Like, this kid has what I hate all these phrases like it has the X factor and all the rest of it, but whatever the X factor is, whatever it is, that's it. Like, it's just,
he has it. Yeah,
it's just this really lovely package. I should say the charisma just oozes. But yeah, the showmanship, the choreo, the styling, I loved all of this. I think it's right up there with France's entry this year. It's normally you sort of think, oh, this is going to be. I think for me, I always think it's going to be a little bit, kitschy, a little bit, a little bit kooky, a little bit, because it's kids, right? But this is what I love, is when it's just like full on pop that just suits, just works. Like, if you weren't watching that music video, I think at a certain point you should forget that it was like, a 10-year-old or whatever. Like, just like it's because it's fun, and I love that disco vibe like you were talking about. Absolutely fantastic to me. I loved it. Oh,
yeah, it
really.
was just the swag.
I think I said that right at the start. This boy has swagger.
It's like, insane. And did you see, like, he was even doing that little like Michael Jackson move where he was sort of like grabbing his pants and like doing that little thing. I can't even copy it because it looks ridiculous if I would try it, dude. But he just like you said, he has that X factor. He has that je ne sais quoi, as Hera Björk said.
I think all they need to do is staging-wise is really get the energy that video has and somehow project that onto the stage. I don't think that's very difficult to do.
No. Just copy paste it, basically. Have the dancers with him, the colorful outfits, colorful backdrop. They don't even need much more than that.
Yeah, I also love the fact there was just some girls that they'd painted like purple and yellow and stuff like that to be aliens. Like, so random, but so good. Well done, Armenia. Next up, we go to the most serene San Marino. They are back at Junior Eurovision. I think they've been absent for a little while. They're being represented by a group called Idols, Idols SM. I'm assuming that means San Marino. And the song is Come Noi. So let's take a look and see what we think of this.
Perché nessuno al mondo è come noi, che camminiamo sopra le stelle, a piedi nudi che è più divertente, così da sempre. Voliamo in alto senza ali, che bello il mondo visto da qui, le nostre storie hanno effetti speciali, come dentro i video degli Stray Kids.
Okay, that was San Marino, Idols SM, Come Noi. A little bit about the band. So they're made up of Asia, Georgia, Julia, and Vera Stefania. Julia's trained in classical, modern, and contemporary dance. Vera Stefania loves Korean dramas and horror films and K-pop, so she'll be big friends of our friends Sheen and Oliver, Rebecca. Georgia spends all of her time singing around San Marino, enjoys astronomy, and Asia likes the quiet life unless she's on stage. Very much vibe with that. So Thomas, what do you think?
I am really surprised by this. I did not expect to like this much as I did. The word that comes to mind is cool. It was just cool. Like it just had that sort of, I know it's obviously San Marino, it's not Italy, but it had that sort of typical Italian, just effortless, cool vibe. It's just sort of like, maybe it's the language. Like, I feel like the Italian language just makes everything better. Like, this just for me felt very grown up in a way. It didn't necessarily feel like a Junior Eurovision song. I thought, like, put a grown-up voice on this and you could just send this to Eurovision in a way. It kept me on my toes. It kept me on the edge of my seat because I didn't know where the song was going to go. I really like the instrumentation because it just does that, like, sort of like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, every few seconds, it just, like, I really like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's not necessarily them. It's just the song, the instrumentation of it. It just has that cool vibe. It just, like, do you know how sometimes in Italy in Eurovision, for example, where it kind of feels like, oh, they're always good in Eurovision. They always send something classy. Always send something that's just effortlessly just good. It's just, you can't really fault it. It might not be your genre of song, but it's just always quality. And this kind of has that vibe for me. I'm really surprised. I'm really pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you say. Really, the instrumentation, there was bits about it, the little sort of ringing bit, like the there's something so nostalgic about that. Like, I feel like I've heard it somewhere before, but I don't know where. But it sort of took me back to being a kid a little bit. So I think there must be a song that sounds that has a similar sort of thing to that, and that was what hooked me. I agree that I didn't quite ever know where it was going. Like, just before at the final bridge, it sort of takes this really slow moment, like it's almost as if it goes silent for a sec. And I was like, whoa, what's happening here? That felt like quite a right turn. But no, overall, I thought this is a pretty solid effort. I think the girls look like they've got some really good chemistry with each other. I'd like to see that come together a bit more on stage. It's one of those that's a little bit tricky with a girl group like this when it's maybe more of a slower song. To sort of I want to feel their energy, but you don't want them to give too much energy because it is a slower type of song. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they stage that one. But overall, I really liked it.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to staging, this is going to be one of those entries that they're going to have to draw the people in by means of camera angles and lighting. And I can sort of like, in my head, I'm sort of imagining a sort of like LED floor thing, like some sort of light, playment with light on the LED floors each time it has that sort of like you said, like that water drop, like that. Like they could project something on the LEDs on the floors or on the backdrop or anything to make it cool. And they're going to have to work. I don't think we would need a lot of wide angle camera shots of the entire stage. I think it has to stay intimate. But yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tricky one to stage. It's going to be, like you said, because it's a bit slower. But it could be very, very cool if they.
Yeah. And SMR TV, if you're listening, Thomas sounds like he's available and has some ideas for you. So give him a shout. Finally, for this episode, let's jump over to our hosts. It's Spain. They're being represented by Chloe De La Rosa, and the song is Como la Lola, which sounds very Spanish. So let's see what we get from the host. This is Spain.
Como la Lola, la 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 Lola, como la Lola, yo la flor es la más grande y la reina de corazones. Como la Lola, la 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 Lola, como la Olivia, como la Loba, la Shaki, pero universal como la Lola. Quiero cantar en cada ciudad y quiero ver a toda Europa bailar. Somos pequeños y queremos soñar. Music wins.
And that was Spain. That was Chloe De La Rosa with Como la Lola. But a little bit about Chloe, if there's information. She regards herself as a cantista, which is a combination of singer and artist. Okay, I can get that. She began showcasing her talent just free dancing at concerts put on by her father. And she's also apparently got a fandom on TikTok. Despite being so young, she's also a regular fixture at music festivals, performing alongside notable artists such as flamenco-inspired pop duo Andy and Lucas. Ooh, okay.
Okay. Not a stranger to the stage.
Not a stranger to the stage at all, and I think that comes through actually when you watch this. I think there's things with this, like this is what I consider really quintessential Junior Eurovision entry. It is more of that kids bop feel, which is nothing derogatory. It is just what kid it is. But this is just done so well. This sort of felt like I remember when my little sister was younger and made me watch kids TV with her when I was a little bit old. This seemed like a song that would be performed by like a main character of a TV show, or something like that. Like, it was just so much fun. The stylist was working overtime because that was the coolest dressed girl I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I love those sort of biker jacket things. But no, I really enjoyed this. I did like the fact it was more kid based because she does seem a lot younger than some of the other kids we've seen today. So I do like that it was more geared towards kids. Which I think ideally really it should be when it's Junior Eurovision. But I still like that adults can enjoy it. I think we were bopping along the whole way as well. You know, there was something infectious about it where you're just like, right, cool. My dancing shoes are on, let's get to it, sort of situation. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think the thing with the thing with Junior Eurovision is that you're going to get when it's like actual Eurovision and you get people of different ages, they're all grown up, so they all have a more grown up taste in music. But when it's Junior Eurovision, you do have kids that are actually like 8 years old, and you have kids that are 14, nearly 15, and they are already going to have a very different style, a very different taste in music, even though they're barely 6 years apart. But the difference is going to be a lot bigger, which I think makes Junior Eurovision really interesting, because you do get a mixture of those different genres. This is just really, really, I'm completely blown away in this podcast. Like, it's just, all 4 of these songs have been so good. Like, it's just, I was thinking, like, who writes these songs? Like, what a genius writes songs like these, because it's just, like you said, it's so much fun. Her energy, she feels like she was born to do that. Like, it feels like she was born to do this, right? I'm kind of half expecting pictures of her, the day she was born with a microphone in her hand, or something. She must have been born with it. Like, it's just insane. Like, just like with the Armenian kid, Leo, I think his name was, just oozes charisma, stage presence. She's just cool. It's very poppy. It's cute. It's bubbly. It's fun. It sort of reminded me, I don't know if you ever saw this, but Spain they did actually win Junior Eurovision. I think the second edition, 2004. I think her name was Maria Isabel or something. And it kind of reminded me of a more poppy, less traditional version of that song. Very Spanish in a way, very in your face, but in the best possible way. It's just like, bam, I'm here, and it's just, you just can't help but feel hooked. Like, I was just, like you said, I was just bopping along from start to finish. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with the quality of the songs with this edition. Like, we've heard 8 songs now, and they've all been really, really good.
Yeah, I think this is the thing I love. Like, that it is a celebration of the talent that these kids have. And I do think, there are arguments that the Junior Eurovision is still a lot of pressure for them at their age, which I can totally understand. But I think if as long as these kids are looked after, right, and all the rest of it, and we all just respect that they are kids and they are just going out and giving it their best, this is absolutely fantastic. Not every single one of these kids is so talented. Got more talent than I'll have in my little finger ever. I'm blown away, as you said. I think some of these songs that we listened to today are going to be stuck in my head for a little while. There's definitely a couple of earworms in here, but no, I love this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we've still got 10 more, I think, to listen to at some point. I think that's 8 out of 18. So we will leave it there for today. Thank you very much. Let us know what you think about all these entries and how which ones are your favourites? Who are you rooting for when we get to Spain next month? You can do that down below in the comments on YouTube. You can also just click on any links at niallpointspod.com and you'll be able to follow us there as well and keep up to date. So I think we will see you next time. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.